we all know what the fifth extinction was, don't we? All the dinosaurs were destroyed? No, they weren't. The flying dinosaurs mutated over thousands of years to become birds. So are we mutating to whatever becomes? You're part of a grand march beyond Homo sapiens sapiens and Gyno sapiens sapiens into the next evolution, the next evolving of our species. Makes you free. The other half of this title is You Were Born to This. We'll get to it in a minute. I will give you some quotes all the way through this. For years I've been collecting quotations from people much wiser than I am. And they fall into what we're going to do here. The world we have created is a product of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. First question, is there anybody that is content with this world and feels we don't need to change? Evidently not. Okay. Now, the first thing we're going to have to consider, and this is a hard part, consider the worst possible outcomes, even though it is not certain that these things are going to happen. All right, what are some of the worst things that can happen to our world or our country or our people at this point? Anybody? What?
The worst?
The world could become totally desolate.
It could. That's a real outside idea, but it can.
Okay,
Nuclear war.
yeah.
What?
She can't hear, so it's.
I forgot to tell you. I did tell them. I'm very deaf, so you got to speak up.
Nuclear war, all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
Climate change.
Climate change. What's climate change going to bring us? What do you think?
I guess that's
2 weeks ago in Atlanta, friends said their vegetable garden, their tomatoes are burning up in June because it's hotter in Atlanta than it has been. We decided that shade cloth might help that. We've got immigration, climate immigration, political immigration. What's going to happen about those people?
the worst things they could.
We're
Well, they
looking at
could.
what the outcomes. Somebody come up with. No?
Will become extinct, maybe. That's a big possibility. Or everything else will, and then will eventually.
That's another one.
Sea level rise, climatic instability.
The gentleman there said scarcity of resources.
I know. He and I talked for 2 hours. Thank you. Now, let me.
Well, she was looking for long term. What can be the worst thing that can possibly happen? Well, Mother Earth could just shake all the volcanoes loose and crack the earth and swallow us all. And I wouldn't blame her. But that's not the problem.
Okay,
Not
Kathy,
Mother
I need
Earth.
to take the class back.
Okay, honey, you can have it.
Let me give you an example of outcomes from what happens. I was born in 1930, just months after the stock market crash in October of '29. And the picture that stays in most people's minds is of the wealthy men jumping to their death out of high buildings. That was not all that was happening. In Germany, at that time period, people were wheeling wheelbarrows full of paper money to buy a loaf of bread. In the Southwest, the dust was blowing, the topsoil was blowing away in dust from overcultivation and drought. There were people packing up and abandoning their homes and headed for California because they heard there might be jobs there. There was a lot going on then. as a result of what had happened, that what we had done with not only the land, but also politics and war. Several of the things that humans are very good at, very good at. So I wanted to bring those things out. What's happening at this moment, we've got a number of challenges, if you will, of problems that are facing us, and we don't know exactly what the outcomes will be, but we can imagine. And the next thing, Dwayne Elgin says, we are moving into a unique moment in human history, pushed by necessity and pulled by opportunity. We are being challenged to finally grow up and make a reasonable world together. This is critical to what we're doing. The second point of the sixth extinction, while it may not be possible to affect the mega picture, and anytime you think I'm too small to make a difference, try closing yourself up in a room with a mosquito. Nothing you do is unimportant. Nothing you say is not of value, and you may not see it. And your descendants may not see it. It may be further away. But you have the power to alter reality. Now, the storms gathering on our horizon are very large and very indefinable at the edges. And this is where we are. Make your best guess about what might happen, what is most necessary to survive. Two things. What do you think is going to happen about certain, and what must we save?
I'm so sorry.
Hello? Must we save corporations? Is this important to the future of the earth? Must we save a flawed political system?
Definitely not.
One big thing, and I tribute to John, the elephant in the room that people don't talk about is too damn many people on the earth. Not here, not in most of the United States. And oddly enough, Caucasian, European heritage people are not having many babies. But in many nations and races, they're continuing
Do you know how to turn it on?
to have lots of babies. One thing, the recreational aspect is covers up when you're miserable or unhappy or hungry. For another, having children used to assure you of having a comfortable old age.
Turn your volume on.
Thank you. Now, once you have decided what must survive, then the next step is find your partner. That's what we've been talking about, much of what's going on. Where can you use your energy to transform the future? Are you with me so far? Okay. E.O. Wilson, who is an economist, or was, I don't know if he's still on this plane, he said, we are passing through the bottleneck, a time of maximum stress on the natural resources and the human ingenuity. Right now, with everything that is around us, we are at the worst stage. Everything is happening at once. Much of it very negative, much of it very scary. And we've got to go through it. We cannot pass it. We have to go through it. Forces set in motion hundreds of years ago have to work themselves out. We can work magic till we're blue in the face, but patterns have to be fulfilled. So don't waste your energy trying to find more oil. Don't waste your energy trying to straighten out the mishmash of so many things. What you need to do with your energy and move with is looking clearly at the scary stuff. Acknowledging that all of it cannot survive. All of it cannot survive. And deciding where to put your energy for the important things. The word crisis, definition, a decisive moment, a crucial time in which change is impending, a situation which has reached a critical point, a turning point that will shape you, bring out things within you that you never suspected you had. We are living at a time of the greatest opportunity humans have ever had. There's a quote about that, but I've forgotten where it is. Look at what's happening and realize you are here because you chose to be here. We're the people we've been waiting for. And it's not they, it's us. When you have reached that point, recognize the meaning of your life. Who sent you what you're here for? And your own soul's purpose. Throughout time, we have chosen to become carnate in order to further a much larger plan that we may not know. And we have opportunities people have never had. I've always figured this, though I'm open to a different persuasion. The hard times, the difficult times, the painful times are here for our learning. The easy times are here to take breath. R&R. Get ready for the next step. I actually, when all of this started pushing me several months ago, my impulse was to say, oh God, it's not another learning experience. But it is. I want to talk about the relationship of human beings to the larger world of nature, not to the larger people world, the larger world. This tree, these trees that we sit under have a consciousness. All living things have a consciousness. Ours is different, not better, not worse. It's different. It's different. We'll talk about that in a minute. When a long time ago, somebody wrote a wonderful book about the stewardship of the earth. That's what we're here. We are here to guide and care for the natural world. But long ago, human beings decided they were here to dominate. And the holy book of several monotheistic religions says dominate. If you go back in translation to the early days when these books were written, it does not say dominate. It says care for, be responsible. Responsible is a hard word. We all want freedom. Where's freedom? Well,
And that's why you get so lucky.
We claim we want freedom, but we refuse to take responsibility for what that freedom brings. I see so many people, so many groups. I'm black and I'm entitled to this. I'm a woman and I'm entitled to that. I'm a resident of a gated community and I'm entitled. We are not entitled to anything except the air, fire, the earth, and the water. That's what we're given to work with. So let's look at stewardship as a responsibility born into us that enhances our freedom to make decisions. And it must build on stewardship until we can build a relationship. Okay? And this morning, one of the dogs across from me kept looking at me and looking at me and looking at me, and I felt like he wanted me to touch him. And I did ask his owner to bring him over. Turns out, what I picked up from him is, I met you 2 weeks ago. You didn't pet me. Very simplistic, but it was a message. Everybody that has pets knows how you can build a deep relationship. Animals will probably be our first attempt or our first succession of communicating with other species, because I know they've been working with both the great apes and the dolphins. And I bet when we find out what they really think of us, we're going to be really embarrassed.